Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about JVC's new hybrid active noise cancelling headphones. And more specifically, the model is the HAS100N. And JVC is one of those companies that's not as well known as they used to be, but I'm not gonna lie, all of the true wireless earbuds that I've tested from them, especially the explosive bass series, I've really enjoyed. So I'm excited to check these out because they look like a direct competitor to the Sony WH-1000XM4s and the Bose QC35-2s. And I think having competition in this market is just good for everybody. So we're gonna check these out. They do come in priced at $299. So it does sit below both the Bose and the Sonys, but the Sonys go on sale all the time, so do the Bose. And so they usually do undercut this $299 price tag. But we're gonna check out the features that these have. We're gonna talk about the sound, what all comes inside the box, and see if it could be worth the $300 price tag. So to start with, this pair is high-res audio certified. It does have aptX HD, aptX, AAC, and SBC playback. So you're getting some pretty high-end Bluetooth codecs there. I didn't notice any kind of compression when it came to the audio, and I also didn't have any kind of lag when it came to movies, videos, and games. So this is an excellent pair to just use for all different types of media. That way you don't really have to worry about lag. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, and I think this is one thing that kind of holds this pair back, is this pair does not work with an app, where Sony has one of the best apps in my opinion. Bose has their own app, which gives you a lot of different customization features, different kind of controls over your noise canceling, and it just kind of opens things up a little more. So I think the JVC's not having an app is definitely kind of keeping them from offering some features that the other headphones have. But speaking of one of the main features that these do have is the active noise canceling. Now there is 4 different modes that you can switch between on the headphones themselves. You have active noise canceling high, active noise canceling low. You have an off mode if you just want to use them without having any noise canceling. And then there is an ambient mode. So that way you can kind of hear your surroundings. And I want to go ahead and say this, the ANC is not on the same level as the Sony or the Bose. I would say that the active noise canceling on the JVCs is very good, but the Bose and the Sony is on great level. That's like the high tier noise canceling headphones. And I feel like the JVCs fall under that. They don't fall like very, very far from that, but you know, just enough if you're looking at these for noise canceling alone. I would steer you more towards the Sony or the Bose, but you may be somebody that can't deal with that aggressive noise canceling. The noise canceling that kind of makes your head feel like it's in a vacuum. It gives you that pressure type feeling. I did not experience that at all with the JVCs, and I still feel like they did a very good job of blocking out air conditioner units, the hum of like engines and things like that. But I just felt like if people were talking around me, a lot of that still came through a little bit more than it did with the Sony or the Bose. So that's something to keep in mind. And the ambient mode on here, I think they did a very good job with. In fact, I feel like the microphones on the JVC was quite impressive in general. So the fact that it could pick up my surroundings and make it sound fairly natural, it does still have that digital sound to it, but it makes it very easy to carry on a conversation. In fact, there is actually a touch to talk feature on the ear cups where you just touch a certain spot on the ear cup and it just channels in the microphone so that you don't have to take them off to actually be able to talk to someone. Now, as far as what all they do include inside the box, you do get a hard zippered case, which kind of resembles the one that you get with the Sonys. And inside that case, you can keep your headphones, but you can also keep the normal 3.5mm cable that they've included and the USB-C cable, which you would use for charging. And speaking of the charging, battery life is actually pretty decent. If you just decide to use these with the noise canceling off, you can actually get about 25 hours, where if you just decide to use them with the noise canceling on all the time, you're still going to get around 22 hours total. So I think battery life wise, that is fairly impressive. And I didn't see anywhere where there's a fast charge feature. So that's another thing that I wish this pair had, because that seems to be pretty common in all of the other noise canceling headphones. Now, as far as the actual design and the feel of the headphones themselves, this is really a lightweight headphone, and it's actually pretty sleek looking. It does resemble the Sonys quite a bit, in my opinion. I actually feel like the ear cups are softer, which is kind of surprising, and they are much deeper, and so that really does give you some good isolation on its own before actually having to kick noise canceling on at all. So, you know, mixing that with noise canceling, I think is how you're able to get decent noise canceling without having that pressure. But this is a very comfortable headset. The majority of the build is plastic, but it does have plenty of give that I don't have to worry that it's gonna break or snap if I stretch these out. The headband has plenty of padding. In fact, it even has memory foam at the top. So it just kind of molds and adjusts around your head and your ears without having a whole lot of pressure. Now, as far as the controls and how you turn these off and all that stuff, which I think is kind of interesting, there is no actual buttons. There's no physical buttons at all. There's no, way to turn these on and off other than the way you open or close the headphones. So when you have the headphones laying flat like this, the headphones are off. But when you close them in, that's how they're turned on. And I really do wish there's another way to turn these on or off, because sometimes I like having the headphones like this and then just kind of folding them inwards. But because the ear cups are not swiveled out, your headphones are still on. And that's kind of confusing to me. Now, I do understand they have it where you can swivel and lay it flat because that's how it lays in the case. But it just kind of limits you to how you can store your headphones. So I don't like that that's the only option. And same thing with the controls. They do use different swipe gestures. They do use different tap functions all on the right ear cup. In fact, they even kind of ran out of space for controls. So you have to touch an area on the side of the ear cup to actually get it to do that touch to talk feature. So I think it could just be a little more simplified with buttons. And personally, I just like buttons because it keeps you from having those accidental touches and it kind of keeps you from having to remember what all you have to do to get it to do what you want it to do. Now, as far as the microphones on here, so if you're somebody that actually likes to use your headphones for taking phone calls, like I said earlier, I think they did a very good job with the microphones. I felt like it picked up my voice very clearly. It does still have that slightly digital sound, but I don't think a lot of people are gonna have many complaints on the other line of a call. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the JVC headphones. And again, I think it does a very good job at picking up my voice. And I feel like it just makes it sound a little bit more natural than some of the other headphones do. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because noise canceling is very important and features are very important as well. But the sound, to me, is still the most important thing. And I think this is where the Sony and the Bose always had this huge, separation between each other. I felt like the Sonys were always the more dynamic pair. It just had more bass. Where I felt like the Bose did a better job with mids and treble. It just kind of brought out details a little bit better. So the JVCs kind of fall right in the middle. I feel like with this pair, it has better bass than the Bose, but it also has better mids and treble than the Sony. So, it's kind of interesting because you cannot EQ these in any way because there's no app, but having better bass than the Bose, in my opinion, makes them a little bit more appealing. I'm just somebody that kind of gravitates towards bass, but I do like everything else to still come in crystal clear without sounding too artificial. And I feel like the Sonys at times, even though it does have that really boomy bass, I feel like treble can kind of sound a little too artificial. It can sound like they're trying to push it up too much to kind of balance out the bass. And I don't feel like the JVCs are doing that. I feel like the JVCs is just more of a smoother sound. I feel like everything has plenty of punch, but it definitely has plenty of details. And the mids are pushed up just enough where it doesn't feel like the vocalist is getting lost in the mix, but the vocalist doesn't sound like they're right there in front of you either. They're just kind of playing it safe with the mids. But the soundstage and the sound imaging, in my opinion, aren't really as open as the other two. It kind of left me right on the line of feeling like I'm in a medium to large size room. I didn't have any issue with being able to tell where instruments were coming from. They just didn't sound as distant as they did with the Bose and the Sony. So, if you like a very open and spacious sound, that's just something you might want to keep in mind. So really, my overall opinion is this. I think that the JVCs are priced a little high. I do think because the Sony and the Bose both go on sale quite a bit to kind of undercut these, makes it definitely a reason that you would look more towards the Sony or the Bose. But if the JVCs were kind of floating around the $200 price tag, that would definitely give me a reason to recommend these over the Sony and the Bose. I mean, because you could save almost $100 and you're getting a sound that's right in between both. I feel like they're trying to pull the best characteristics from both headphones and kind of cram it into these. But the lack of having an app to be able to, do a lot of things that you're able to do with the Sony or Bose definitely holds these back. So most people are gonna wanna just spend, at the moment, a little bit less getting the Bose or the Sonys on sale instead of spending $300 on the JVC. So if you can catch them on sale for around $200, I'd recommend them at that price point. But at the $300 price point, definitely look more towards the Sony or the Bose. But guys, that wraps up my video on the JVC HA-S100Ns. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.